Hello, welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Steve Kleinmann with Moody's Analytics. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Todd James, Chief Data and Technology Officer at 8451. For a few years now, with the pandemic and now inflation and all these market factors and changes that are occurring, what 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 are you doing for handling and being more agile to adapt to those market changes internally and be able to support your customers through these turbulent times?
Yeah, and it's interesting. The turbulence creates opportunity for companies and for society. I look at where we're going through, and you're in this field as well, Steve. I mean, it's an exciting time. We are going through what I would say is once in a lifetime
Yeah.
global replatforming, where data and analytics are being leveraged in ways that help drive better decisions, but also help activate decisions. So it's really a unique opportunity, and I see that as a great thing, for those of us that are in the field right now. What I would say, though, is I look at how do we stay agile. To get back to your question, how do we make sure we're responding? Because the velocity of change in the marketplace as people are using data and analytics to drive decisions is increasing at an exponential rate. And you feel that, I feel that within my company. So I think as data professionals, I'm looking around four different things we can do. I think the first is really making sure that we have composable architectures. And I wouldn't say there's anything slick or fancy about it, but building the APIs, building for composability, providing technical flexibility to enable business flexibility. A lot of times we think about the technical flexibility and say, hey, we want to be able to use a science or use a particular service in multiple locations. That's good.
Right.
We also have to start to float that up at an aggregate level and give our businesses flexibility to launch new product lines, flexibility to acquire new businesses, flexibility to potentially divest businesses. And I think that's something we don't talk about a lot, but I think it is technology leaders, we need to think about composability, not just from a technology, but a business perspective. The second one is really around data quality, right? And availability. At the end of the day, with the high velocity of data and the fact that we all have, data coming from new sources, we have data coming from legacy sources. Within our field, there is a major focus that I think we need to keep on removing any excuse for not using the data asset. At my company, it's removing any excuse for not using the Kroger data asset to create a better experience, to better inform a decision. The third, and you hit on this a little bit earlier, you talked about descriptive and a little bit predictive. We constantly need to be looking for ways to advance the data science to be able to drive more informed decisions and more significant activations. And, I think we're all a little bit in a arms race as we look at, what are the new capabilities coming out and how can they be employed for our particular markets? How can they be used in a way that is able to help our customers in a way that represents the trusted value exchange that we have with their data? And it's making sure that we're staying up on those sciences and we're looking more and more to predictive. I think there's a lot we talk about to be able to better inform decisions and activations through more advanced science. The other twist we need to take is if you design a product from a experience perspective with data science in mind, the product set starts looking different and the experience set starts feeling different. I think that's a key thing for us. The fourth one is really around more agile operating models. Making sure that we're working away from kind of the legacy ways of working and bringing work to cross-functional empowered groups of individuals who look at the objectives that are set for them, but then go about and figure out how can they meet that need in the most expeditious and value-added manner for the customers. So agile models, it's a combination of those four things. And at the end of the day, we want speed, we want flexibility, and we want to do it in a way that's creating an environment where our associates work in an environment that has less friction and frees them up to have the kind of impact and the power on the customer and on the organization that they're capable of.
Right. I often hear, these transformational challenges broken down into, people, process, technology, but they often leave off data because data is data is really how we're making decisions nowadays. So I believe that's the other leg on the four-legged stool for maintaining an agile environment and supporting our customers' needs to pivot based on these market changes. We're at Moody's have uh, always are on the lookout for new data sets to help our clients with the challenges that are occurring, with the sanctions that are coming in to make sure that people are working in compliance with their businesses and the supply chain challenges that are out there, understanding, you know, the crazy graph network of connections between suppliers and goods that are importing and exporting can all be helpful to understand where you can optimize your supply chain or be more compliant with keeping out bad actors in the supply chain. So I guess you're not just helping customers with their growth, but do you also help with their efficiencies around supply chain, for example?
Within our organizations, what we're looking at is we are really looking across the entire path to purchase and being able to make sure that our partners are able to understand that using data to drive the best experience for the customer in a way that is gracious for our customers as well as for the business partners that we're working with. So we do look end to end. As you look within the parent company within Kroger, we have significant investments as we look at, how are we driving analytic enabled improvements in operations as well as supply chain in a way that is as disruptive as minimally disruptive as possible to the store. So,
Mhm.
we have some really exciting work. I mentioned the one around optimization earlier that we were doing. We also have some very exciting work as we look at, how do we drive greater efficiency around routing in stores for our e-commerce space, and how are we leveraging data in a way that is specific as we look at picking and packing in the routes that happen within the stores,
Mhm.
both in terms of optimizing labor as well as in terms of optimizing speed and time, which has a customer impact and a economic impact at the parent company. So yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, here's the beauty. I mean, you talked about it. Data isn't something that's isolated to one vertical or another, one area of the business, one industry or not. I think you nailed it. It is foundational across. Going back to that global replatforming, we're
Mhm.
changing the way in which we're using data across the board to simplify and to basically, I keep saying, make people's lives easier, whether it's a customer, whether it's a partner, whether it is
Mhm.
a Kroger store associate. The name of the game is to leverage that data to make it easier for them.
Thank you, Todd. This has been a great discussion on using data analytics to gain insights for actionable decision making, how we can adapt better to the changes in the markets for our clients. So I just want to thank you. And for the audience, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews like this. And of course, you can find out more about Moody's and Orbis and 8451 from our websites. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.